Hello and welcome to the Learning Love podcast. I'm Dr. Mark A. Hicks, author of the book Learning Love. It is possible to build the healthy, happy, thriving relationships you have always wanted. So let's spend some time learning love. Love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. We live in a society that talks a lot about love. We don't want to just talk about love. We want to live it. We want to do it. We want to live it out in such a way that it makes a real difference in our lives, in the lives of our families, our friendships, our community, our workplaces, and ultimately, as we change ourselves, our families, our communities, and our workplaces, we change the world. That's what we're looking for. And we can do that because we already have the answer. We just have to learn how to apply it. So today, I'm going to explore one of these questions. I'm going to explore actually what I think is one of the most important questions that we can ask. Of all the questions in the world, there is one that if you apply this question to your life and all the areas of your life, it's transformative. This is one of those revolutionary questions that if we learn to ask this question over and over and over again and think through the answer each time in each area of life, transformational, revolutionary concept. And the question is this: who made that rule? In every area of life, we need to always be asking that question. Who made that rule? Why are we doing this? What has led us to this conclusion? Who made that rule? And so let me go over a few things here. Let me go through a few areas, a few questions of life, and let's learn how to apply this basic question, who made that rule, to these areas of life. So let me ask you this. Do you feel guilty resting or taking breaks? Do you tie your worth to how much you accomplish? So do you think things like, I have to earn my rest? I can't just rest just because it's a basic human need. I can't rest just because I'm tired. I have to earn it. It's based on my accomplishments. Do we believe that our value comes from our productivity? And if you say, well, yeah, there's a lot of people that say yes to that. Yeah, I believe I have to be productive. I can't rest until I've accomplished certain things. I can't allow myself to rest just because I'm tired. It's based on my productivity. I have to earn it. I can't just take breaks because I need it or because it would make me feel better. I have to earn that vacation. I have to earn that rest. I have to make sure I'm productive in order to feel good. Who made that rule? Who said you have to be productive in order to feel good about yourself? Who made the rule that you have to earn that rest that we all know is a basic human need, and it actually does make us feel better and enjoy life more if we get proper rest? Who made that rule that you can't feel good about yourself unless you are a certain level of productivity and accomplishment, and we can't rest until we reach that? That's not a rule. That doesn't exist. It's just something that gets started in society, that some of us come from certain cultures that just teach that productivity is everything, accomplishment is everything, that rest is for the lazy. And let me show you what people do with this sometimes. When we start to talk about this, people will say things like, well, what are we supposed to do? Just all be lazy slobs? Supposed to just sit around and do nothing? Yeah, that's called a straw man argument, that we're just taking this concept to a level of absurdity so that we can tear it down. No, we're not saying everybody should be lazy. We're not saying you should sit around and do nothing. No one's saying that productivity is bad or accomplishing things is bad. That's not the point. And so to go to some extreme opposite is an absurdity. And so let's avoid those kind of arguments, those straw man kind of absurd arguments that are used to tear down perfectly valid discussions. No, we're not talking about being lazy. We're not talking about giving up accomplishments or not achieving our goals. It's the idea of who made the rule that we couldn't rest in the meantime when we need it. Who made the rule that we couldn't feel good about ourselves even if we haven't accomplished it yet, even if we haven't been as productive as we hoped because we were tired or maybe another number of other reasons? Who made that rule? That rule does not exist. There is no rule of the universe that says you can't rest until you've reached a certain level of accomplishment or production, or you can't feel good about yourself or your daily work unless you've reached a certain point. That's not a rule. So relax a little bit. Yeah, of course we're not going to be lazy. And yes, we want to accomplish things and we want to be productive. That's part of our work as human beings. It's part of our nature that we'd like to accomplish some things. Great, do it. But enjoy it along the way and rest when you need to. And that's going to make you more productive in the long run anyway. Let's take another. Do you say yes to things you don't want to do to avoid disappointing people? Do you feel responsible for other people's emotions? Do we think things like being kind means never upsetting other people? Who made that rule? Who made the rule that you could never upset anybody? Now, again, we're not going to take this to an absurdity. Nobody's calling for you to be a bully. Nobody's calling you to trample on other people's feelings or to be a jerk. That's not what we're talking about. But do you always say yes, even when you don't want to, even when it's a hardship, even when it's not really in your capacity because you don't want to disappoint someone? Are you in this mode where you think you are required to please people? Who made that rule? That rule does not exist. There is no rule of the universe that says I must always please everyone all the time, or else I feel bad about myself. That's not a rule. Again, we're not talking about being a jerk. We're not talking about being mean to people. I'm not going to push it to the point of absurdity, but there is no rule that says you have to always please everyone, that you have to feel bad about yourself if you say no sometime. I knew a guy one time that was like this. He was a super nice guy, but he just let people take advantage of him. And I told him one day, I said, I want you to say something for me. I want you to practice this. He said, what's that? I said, no. And he started to laugh and he said, okay, let me try. And he's like, no. And we went through this silly thing where he was learning to say the word no. But in reality, he had to learn to say the word no. Every now and then I would see him and he would come by and he would just say, no. And I'm like, good job. You know how to do it. He had to learn to tell people no and to learn that that was okay because people take advantage of him. He was such a great guy, such a nice guy. He just felt like he could never say no. And what he started finding was people didn't get mad. They understood. He couldn't do everything all the time. And that's okay. There is no rule that says we have to say yes to everyone all the time or else feel bad about ourselves. That's not a rule. Let's keep going. Do you feel like you need to look put together all the time? Are there parts of yourself you hide because you think maybe it's too much or maybe it's not enough? There's just aspects of yourself you hope people don't see because maybe it would overwhelm them or maybe they would think less of you in some way. Do you think I must be acceptable to be loved? Who made that rule? Who decided that you always had to be put together? One of the things in our societies, if you ask people how they are in the American culture, they're going to say fine. We always believe we have to be fine. We have to always put forth this idea we have it together, that we're hanging in there. We're doing okay. Yeah, there's problems, sure. We assume that. But we always want to project that we've got it together. We're holding it together. We look good. We express that we feel good even if we don't. And that we believe to be loved and accepted by people around us, we have to have it together. We have to have everything acceptable. We have to look the part and act the part in order to have it together, in order for people to love us and accept us and be good to us. And who made that rule? That rule does not exist. You do not have to have it together all the time. No one does, and the fact that we act like it is an absurdity. No one has it together all the time. No one has all the answers. No one looks good, feels good, or acts good all the time, and that's okay. This idea that we have to always demonstrate that we have it together to be accepted is just not a rule. It doesn't exist. So what about this? Do you feel pressure to follow certain timelines in your life? For instance, where you taught that there is a certain pattern to life, that you graduate from high school, go to college, graduate from college, maybe to go to graduate school, get your job, get your entry level behind you, get promoted, find that love of your life, get married, have kids, buy the house, live happily ever after. That's not a rule. That's how it works for some people. That's a perfectly good life. Nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of people live their life and they can indeed live happily ever after, relatively speaking. Living that life, it's a good life. It's not a rule. It's just a life that a lot of people live. But some people don't have kids. Some people are never going to be married. Some people are going to be married with kids, but they're not going to live in that traditional neighborhood cul-de-sac. They're going to live a different kind of lifestyle. They're going to do something different. It's okay. There is no rule. One of the things that my wife and I did for a while, after our kids were grown, it was just the two of us, we hit the road. And we, for a time, were professional house sitters and pet sitters. We went from one house to another. We lived in some beautiful homes and took care of some amazing animals and were part of some great communities for sometimes weeks. And we did this because we both work online. We both had jobs that we could do remotely. And so we could travel quite a bit. And so we were on the road a lot, not all the time, but a lot because we could. And we did. And we had a lot of fun doing that. Is that for everyone? No. But that's not the traditional make sure you have the house in the cul-de-sac kind of life. We can live different kinds of lives, and that's okay. We can have different kinds of experiences, and that's okay. Now, obviously, there's limits. We have to be responsible. We have to pay our bills. We do have to make sure we don't hurt anybody, but we don't have to follow the exact timeline that society says. There's no rule of how life should actually be. So if we have this idea that there's only one right way to live a successful life, who made that rule? There's no script. Find what works for you. Again, you can't hurt people in the process. Yes, we still have to pay our bills. There are certain requirements. We're not going to push it to absurdities. But if you have this ideal idea, this script that you've bought into or that has been given to you by your family traditions or anything like that, ask the question, who made that rule? Those rules don't actually exist. There is no script of life. Find what works. What about this? Do you feel afraid to question beliefs and teachings that you grew up with? Do you believe that doubt means you're losing faith? That good people don't question authority or tradition? Again, we're not going to push this to the point where we're talking about, all out rebellion all the time. Yes, we have respect for authority. Yes, we have respect for tradition. But good people can question things. We can ask questions. I was teaching a class one time, and I told the class, you can ask me any question you want. Ask anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll just make something up. And everybody laughed. And somebody came to me after the class and said, are we really supposed to just ask any question? I'm like, why not? And they said, well, it just seems like some questions are dangerous. Well, I don't know. Maybe, I guess that's possible. But what this person was really saying is, if we question things, aren't we bringing about doubt? Aren't we bringing about a question of tradition and rules and what we're supposed to be doing? Well, who said it was a rule? Who made that rule? Who said it was what we're supposed to be doing? Who made that rule? It's okay to ask questions and to not know the answer, to have doubts, to have questions. This is how we grow. And some people were raised in such traditions, whether it's a family tradition or a faith tradition or a culture of some kind, where you're expected to just adhere to what you were told. Don't question it. Don't look around. Don't doubt it. This is just the way it is. That's not a rule. Some of the greatest understandings come when we ask questions, when we do have doubts. We're not throwing out tradition. We're not throwing out faith. We're not rejecting what our family taught us or what our faith tradition taught us or what our culture says. But we are having a healthy sense of questioning, a healthy sense of why, wondering how this comes about, how did we get here, and where is it taking us? These are good things to ask. And if that makes you feel guilty, who made that rule? Let's try one more. Do you feel anxious about spending money on things that bring you joy? Do you feel that you must justify every purchase or spend it on others? Do you have the idea that money must always be practical and joy is indulgent? Who made that rule? One of the things that we've eliminated from life many times is fun. Now, again, to repeat, not pushing this to absurdities. Do not bankrupt yourself. Don't run up a lot of credit card debt because you just want to have fun. Don't be irresponsible. But money's a tool. Yes, we have to pay our bills, but it's also a tool to have fun and enjoy life. Do some things that you enjoy. And if you feel guilty about that, why? Who made the rule that you couldn't have some enjoyment, that you couldn't indulge every now and then responsibly, that you couldn't, if you have the money, do some things that you enjoy? Of course, we need to be generous to other people. And of course, we have to pay our bills. But a lot of people have plenty of money to have a few indulgences here and there. And sometimes we get into this scarcity of, oh, what if I need it later? And, oh, what if something comes up and I better hang on to this? Well, of course, you want to have a reasonable amount of savings if you can, but life's meant to be enjoyed too. Who made the rule that you couldn't enjoy some indulgences in life? To have a little fun sometimes and to even spend money occasionally on something nice for yourself. Again, within reason. Don't get crazy about it. But if we have this guilt complex because we're afraid to spend money on ourselves or to do something nice for ourselves, who made that rule? We can go on and on this. If we ask that question, who made that rule, we'll begin to understand Many times it just doesn't exist. Many times those rules just don't happen. They are not real. Of course, there are some that are, okay? We have laws. We have rules of nature. We have, things like gravity, okay? That's a real one. That's a law of nature. That one's going to happen every time. There are some rules and some laws and some things of life that have to be adhered to. But in the scheme of things, there's not many, not any real ones. I always ask the question, who made that rule? Is that really a law that we are forced to abide by in our society? Is it a rule of nature, a law of nature like gravity that is just the reality of life? Okay, then we're going to adhere to those. But a lot of these things that are just part of our culture, part of our family, part of what's gotten passed down to us, we assume to be real because many times it was passed down to us in our childhood, and we always assume things that happen in our childhood are normal. We just make that assumption that that's the way life is. We can revolutionize our whole life when we ask that simple question, who made that rule? Is it really a rule? Is it a law of nature? Is it a law that we of society has made and we've agreed to abide by? If the answer is no to those two, then it's not a rule. It's something you may want to do. It's something you may choose to do, but it's nothing that you're forced to do. You don't have to feel this way. You don't have to feel the way you feel. You're not required to act the way you're acting in many cases if it's not working for you. You can come to the understanding that's not really a rule and that I can change it. I can take a new path that serves me better because there's no rules stopping it. When you come to these places where you feel compelled to be a certain way, act a certain way, keep it together, always do things a certain way, ask yourself the question, who made that rule? And if you can't answer it, it's not really a rule, and that means you can change it. You have the freedom to make changes for the better because you're not bound by these non-existent rules. And that's my thoughts this week as we are on this quest to build a better life, better love, more laughter together, a better life together in these healthy, happy, thriving relationships that we are building. I hope you'll go to my website, markahicks.com. You'll find a lot of good stuff there, including easy links to buy my book, Learning Love, Building a Life That Matters, and Healthy Relationships That Last. My thanks to my producer, Abby Graves of Abby Graves Productions, and my thanks to all of you for listening. Until next week, love well, everyone.